Yeah, I mean, it's like you walked in, you know, the doors are going and the droids are making their beeping noises and the music cues are playing. Um, so yeah, they don't pull any budget punches when it comes to those audiobooks. Anyway, worth looking at.
So, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you clean off the background?
I wanted to give you guys a fresh slate until we had a new something to scribble on, and I didn't have time to go and find a new backdrop, so I figured I'd start with. I mean, what could you possibly want more than more space for more graffiti?
It's on the way.
Not worried.
Not tonight, but
Yeah, I didn't figure it was gonna be tonight. Anyway, all right. So session 53, 53. That puts us at somewhere around. Jeez Louise. How many Dungeon World sessions did we do? About 6? 5 or 6? Ish? Seems like it was about that many. This will put us certainly closing in. I mean, with just the Star Wars and masks, that's right around, what is that, 86, 92 some odd sessions. We're closing in on 100 sessions in general, just gaming wise, which is quite a lot. I could probably count it up on through YouTube if nothing else. Anyway, all right. So when we last left our heroes, I will start in the study hall, I think, since we had.
Recording?
I think I'm recording. Am I recording? Yeah, I am. We'll start in the study hall where the Summer has flipped a coin and it's standing on edge. And Alicia is sort of eeny, meeny, minying around the room, ticking off ways in which pretty much anybody who flipped a coin in this room could, if suitably psychologically affected, choose or cause to have happen the coin to stand on its edge, in theory.
Just trying to narrow down whether it actually is some weird thing going on with physical laws or perhaps mental control. Or maybe a combination of both. I mean, what the hell?
And Arya is sort of like tapping her finger against her lips, kind of like not like a shh thing, but like thinking. And then when she catches your eye, points behind you at the coin, like just kind of like over there, Alicia. And you turn around, and the coin is. You can see. I don't know that necessarily be easily visible to the typical naked eye, but you can see it's vibrating slightly in position and seems to be giving off heat.
Okay, well that makes it seem more like something's going on with the laws of probability and trying to force the question of is something is what was the question? Is Adam an agent of the Concordance?
Heads yes, tails no, or vice versa. Hardly.
Reality seems to be rebelling against that question being asked.
Or either one of the answers being true. or something, or either one of the answers being false or something.
It's Schrodinger's atom.
Well, we need to go find Adam.
Yes, we do.
In theory, that seems like a good idea. We need to go find Adam. I feel.
Hang on.
Oh, go ahead.
I have one last question from last time. Right. We need to go find Adam clearly, but I'll note that the reason that Adam came up in conversation was the question of Charlotte not being around.
Yes. Wait, how did he come up in context of that? Oh, because you guys were talking about that, and then Harry sort of randomly said something about him being a concordance agent, and you're like, wait a second. So that, to a certain extent, kind of derailed the whole original conversation just because it was like so weird.
It was also driven in part by there was the question about Charlotte, but it was also driven in part by the fact that Parker told me that 3 hours ago Adam had disappeared in the cemetery where Charlotte lives. Charlotte's not around. Has anybody seen Charlotte? That's how it all.
Indeed.
That's how this all started.
Yep. And if we find Adam, we might find Charlotte too.
Yes. Or if we find Charlotte, we might find Adam.
And maybe Pietro.
Who?
Why would we want to find him?
Indeed. That's terrible, James, by the way. We need to go find Adam. Better call Saul. It's terrible. All right. We need to go find Adam. Cut to Adam falling.
Are we past the point where yelling is an appropriate reaction, or are we still at that point?
I think we're kind of past the point where yelling is an appropriate reaction. Like, not that that's necessarily stopped Pietro, but he's not like just going, ah, he's not doing that. He's more hollering because nothing's working and feels rather strongly that something needs to be done about this problem. So it's because, excuse me, because he's like he's firing off his jets and his retro rockets and, you know, various things, and they're not having any appreciable effect. I mean, he's twisting and turning in the air, but that's more a function of just him flailing about.
Flailing?
Yeah.
So.
And your will to fly doesn't seem to be having much effect on anything either at this point. So
you know, at a certain point, Adam's just going to be like, well, this is weird. Flick finger, feel breeze.
I wholeheartedly support James's GIF representing Pietro. I think that is entirely accurate. Although I resent that he keeps posting stuff that makes me having to get up out of my chair so I can come over to the computer and look at what he's linking on. It's fine. I'll forgive him. Yeah, I mean, there is air. You are breathing. You are falling, but which doesn't make you feel a lot bad. I mean, you are definitely falling. But so far as you're able to tell, you You're not generating any push off of anything. Whatever it is that you normally grab hold of to either push against or pull yourself with, sort of to fly functionally, you're not getting any lift off of those things. I mean, it's not as though your effort to fly is, I mean, much like Pietro, whose rockets are doing something, the push isn't pushing against anything. So you're not changing anything. The wind is rushing by, but who's to say what that's about? And right about the time that you have that thought, the wind stops. Like and you're okay. So, and then it begins rushing past you the other direction. So it was rushing past you in the, okay, I'm falling because it's rushing from my feet toward my head, or, that direction. And then it sort of pauses for a long 5 count and then rushes the opposite direction. So either and Pietro's like, it's working, it's working, it's working, it's working. And this goes on for about 20 seconds or so before it pausing is like, wait, and it's pausing again. There's no more rushing air. I shouldn't say there's no airflow. That's not exactly true, but there's a pause in the rush of air, and the wind then again rushes past you in the original direction that you were familiar with, that you were originally sort of introduced to, which goes on for quite a bit. It's not fresh air by any stretch of the imagination. It is, in fact, quite foul smelling. What do you do?
Well, Adam's like trying to think about this. It's like, it's like we're a yo-yo going up and down.
Yeah.
And
you're not getting a lot of. You know what? How about you assess the situation?
That was kind of what I was leveraging for.
Sure. I see you trying, because you're trying to like sort of work your way through what's going on here.
Yeah. Speaking of Joyce.
Yes, sir.
Can you roll my superior?
I can absolutely roll your superior. Uno momento, while I pull your thing up there. Hey, you don't have any conditions. What have I been doing?
Being agreed to.
You've been throwing him down a hole.
Of course he has no conditions. Everything's going wonderfully.
Well, everything's going wonderfully for Adam right now.
It's awesome.
Everything is awesome, and not
it's a good life.
I don't. I'm going to guess you guys are making fun of what I rolled.
No, actually, you rolled an 11.
Okay.
Look at you. And just because you can't get on Roll20 very easily, let me just...
I'm already looking at it because luckily the external journal has all of those images. So
Indeed.
So
you get 2 to pick from.
So, what here's the biggest threat?
Well, you're not feeling... You know how when you go over a hill, or even flying, but when you go over a hill or anything like that, and there's a change in direction, and your stomach kind of drops out, you get that in flying. Less so now than you used to, but you still get it. But there's a sense of inertia acting on your body. You're not getting that feeling. The wind is changing, and that gives you the impression of an initial impression of movement that you're falling one direction, falling another direction, pausing in the middle, or hanging in midair, or whatever. The wind gives you that impression, but there's no sense of, I mean, you get that even in an elevator when you're not moving and then you start moving. And given the rush of air, you should feel something, and you don't. You don't have any kind of kinetic sense of kinetic change in your body as you move this. And the only change is really the wind. What here is the greatest, is the biggest threat? You would have to say that the biggest threat is whatever it is nearby that's breathing on you. While you, as near as you can tell, hang in midair.
Yeah, that is that sounds like a thing. So what here can I use to determine what is breathing on us? Is this just like...
It's very dark. It's very dark, so some, like a pretty... You need a little more light. You're using a little flashlight and you're out in... you suddenly stepped into the Great Hall in Moria and it's not reaching the walls or ceiling, so you're not getting a... So you need a much bigger light, whether or not from yourself or Pietro or something.
I'm sure Pietro has like a whole light show that will go play up and down his armor.
Your immediate answer would be, what can I use? Not, because the easy answer is your powers, but really the more amusing answer is Pietro.
That is the more amusing answer.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think it's just like shout over to Pietro. It's like, Pietro!
And clearly his stuff is working and yours is a little bit maybe not working. So, yeah, what? My suit's on the fritz, man. The flight is just, something is not working right.
Look, can you stop trying to fly out, and instead, can you make more light? Can you, you're the plasma prince. Make a flare.
And you sort of generally say sort of in this direction, because you sort of because there's enough light for him to kind of see you. It's like, generate more light that way, shine it that way, in the direction, when the air rushes by you and stinks, seems like that would be the direction to provide more information. Whether or not that information is actually information that you want to have or not, that's the place that would be the source of information for sure.
So, taking all bets on giant sleeping Charlotte.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I'm
gonna say a giant sleeping Dr. Infinity, but
he is quite panicky and well out of his depth in this crazy space. So I believe that I need you to provoke him to, get his crap together.
Okay. Yeah, and I can totally see that because I was kind of being like, you're the plasma prince. You can do this.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know if my suit's even working, which is ridiculous because there's literally rocket flares coming out of it. But, okay. Shall I roll on your behalf?
If you please.
It's another superior, so we'll see if we can just keep banging that drum and seeing what comes out of it.
It's not like my superior is very good.
It's actually a 1 right now. That's not, you know.
Oh, that's much better than I thought it was.
Yeah, your zeros are something else. Let's find out. It's not an 11 though. It is a 7, which manages to squeak you by with an NPC thing. Let's look at that. Bad boy. When you, well, come on. Oh, it's sitting back behind here, behind the character sheet. When you provoke someone susceptible to your words, roll superior on NPCs on 7 to 9. On 10 plus, they rise to the bait and do what you want. They stumble, you get a +1 forward against them. They err, you get a critical opportunity. Well, that's not quite in keeping with what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, not a lot of those on.
They overreact and you get influence over them. I'm actually going to go with kind of with that one a little bit just because, like, the fact that you're acknowledging, like, come on, man, you're the president, and like kind of pumping him up when nobody else seems to buy his stuff, his whole shtick, or take him very seriously most of the time. Like, you know, and you're Adam, man. You're Adam. And for that's, you know, in this context with the reality, the way things are right now, it's kind of like the Green Lantern coming up to Booster Gold saying, only you can solve this problem for us. You can do it because you're Booster Gold, you know. So he really is like, okay, yeah, you're right, man. Let's find out what's going on here, all right? Whoever's screwing with us is going to pay. Show yourself. And he just lights up in this enormous, glaring light show and just sprays. It's like, you know, it's the classic like Pink Floyd laser show where the lasers all kind of spray out and then like come down towards the audience in the big kind of like pointing. I have a perfect picture of what that looks like, and in my mind, and I'm not, but yeah, he's totally playing all over the place, and just lights everywhere. Useless lights, but lights nonetheless, and they light up the whole area in the direction that you indicated, and he screams like a little girl as soon as they do. And we're going to cut over to the other team, the other group team. I want that laser thing that I'm thinking of, and I know I'm not going to be able to find it.
James just posted something, and, well, maybe not that.
It's not what you're thinking of, but it works.
There's some other alternate images there, like...
I'm just thinking of those ones where they kind of all splay out and then they come... I mean, that's pathetic enough to really work for the Plasma Prince, so I kind of buy it. I mean... It's pretty good.
We're being so mean to him.
I mean, yes, we are, but you know, whatever, it's all good. Okay, so Alicia, Summer, and Harry is who I'm going to focus on here because they're actually sort of the PCs in question.
Right.
How are you? How are you? How like so? Are you guys heading over to the cemetery? That's the main thing.
Yeah.
How are you
getting there?
Well, yeah. How are you getting there? First of all, that's still not what I was thinking of. But yeah, I saw the nipple lights. Thank you very much,
okay, thank you.
Bill, for that horrifying image.
I got more. I mean,
no, it's really okay. Hang on 1 second. All right, sorry, catching up with my daughter. Yeah, that I don't know. The Bender one, it's still not what I was thinking of, but it's pretty good. Anyway, not relevant. How are you guys? Yeah, how are you guys getting over there? Together? Summer, are you just going as Summer?
Well, I mean, she can fly over there pretty fast in any guise. She can carry Alicia with her. Harry can obviously run over there at super speed. So this seems like we should just be able to get there pretty fast.
Yeah, it's not really so much a question of getting. I'm calibrating a little bit on what, because I know that we're not. I know what we're doing here is that Radiance is not out of the bag.
Oh, that's
so
fair.
To speak. And it's not so. Everyone knows Summer can do stuff. That's not even a question. The question is whether or not some people know that Summer is superheroing. So.
Oh, that's fair. In this case, I'll take this opportunity to inflict damage on Alicia's internal organs.
By
showing her the costume.
By showing her the costume.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, I want to go help Adam. I want to go with you guys, and I don't know how much use I'll be. But even if you don't need me, I need you, and so I would like to come along.
Sure.
I need a link up to I need a hot link to that image so we can.
It's in Roll20.
I figured it would be.
And she will take an opportunity to change real quick and emerge with that.
Radiance Crystal. Love it. Man, oh man.
Alicia actually does disrupt several internal organs, not making a comment about the costume because clearly Summer is very, very pleased about this, and it would be cruel to actually say something like, "No, really, what costume are we planning on wearing?" And that's fine. That's great.
What do you think?
I want to know where to take it.
That is amazingly you.
I know.
Princess Radiance.
I will carry you over if you'd like.
I need to put a mask on first.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The undertone being, I will not be seen in public with you.
No. I wouldn't want to, kind of betray any super identities. And yeah, probably not. And yeah, if I'm going to be flying through the air, I should probably be in costume. So let me, since I can't change in a burst of luminescent butterflies, I'll be right back, guys.
Is your change animation really a burst of luminescent butterflies? Because that makes the whole thing even better.
It was in the cartoon. It was in the comic.
Yes, it is.
I love it. I love it so much. Okay. It would be at this point weirdly easy to transfer this whole thing into we need to do like an alternate fantasy episode. to really dive into that fan fiction that Bill's been or Summer's been writing. Yeah. You got the princess's bodyguard / assassin, Princess Fairy. Oh yeah, it's so good. Anyway, that's marvelous. So yeah, Harry. Well, and out of curiosity, Alicia, where do you have your bike stashed? As a general rule.
As a general rule, I have it stashed back in the alley behind the place where I'm living, kind of folded up and with the camouflage field on.
Did we end up getting?
I don't usually write it to school.
Right. Did we end up getting that thing as a? We did that thing as a.
It is not a Kirby craft.
It is not, or it is.
It is not a Kirby craft.
It's just a thing. It's just a thing.
It's just a thing.
All right.
All right.
So we get it.
So I suppose it could be stolen at any time or whatever.
Whatever. It's not. We're not playing champs. It's. I'm trying to think.
I'm working on the assumption that I can probably remote control call it to me.
Mm-hmm. But given
so in theory I could drive it over once I'm in costume, so that when it picks me up wherever I have it pick me up.
The main thing.
Actually, I wanted to make a suggestion on that real quick. You could do the Mr. Incredible car thing for the suit. Have the bike let you suit up while you're on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just yeah.
Roll it down over you like a. Never mind. Yeah, there's some scenario because the thing to remember about the Vertovian tech is that while it is all like hovercraft kind of stuff, it's not fan blades. We tend to find stuff that's fan blades because that's what's out there, but it's more of like the Dyson fan stuff.
The Dyson impellers, yeah.
So there's actually some sort of scenario where this thing can somewhat camouflage itself by actually just turning its fans and being wheels. Although that still begs the question of how a 17-year-old high schooler has such a badass motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leo was coming to school in a supercar. Nobody said anything.
Okay, to be fair, yeah, you're coming to Gardner Academy. So
okay, now I just have that image of all the cars stopped, in a line in front of the school waiting to drop off their kids. The various, black fan bladed, crawling over other cars, kind of vehicles, hovercraft,
the owl, like the owl,
flashing dimensionally. Yeah, the owl. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the owl hover. That's great.
So my assumption is that I can call the bike over to me, and it probably wouldn't on some sort of autopilot, and
we'll have to. I mean that I believe I said at one point that it's your mobility power, hand wave.
Okay.
So I'm not especially worried about that in either case.
Okay.
Trying to figure
then I have someplace parked nearby, near the school where I can drop it off and pick it up, or it can get to me really quickly
I was
or whatever.
Say, without things mobility, getting someplace isn't really, getting there in a hurry isn't super difficult. Nearby is good though. Anyway, all right. So I'm mostly, and I'm not trying to be all persnickety about movement and everybody make a ride check. And that's not what this is about. This is the first time since the team has sort of had a big shift up, and we've kind of, through various questions and answers and stuff last week, kind of established that the team hasn't really been functioning.
Teamy
hasn't been very teamy. So this is sort of the first time since this fight in space that you guys have sort of moved in unison.
Well, this is probably the first. Well, I guess I did.
At least it's the dance.
Did I bring? I think maybe I did bring the bike over with me, but I don't think I actually used it there. But probably the last time I actually used the bike in for any great purpose was against when we were dashing around trying to catch up with Rossum.
Right. I think it came. I feel like it was stashed in the Phoenix, but I don't know that.
It was stashed in the Phoenix, but it was never used.
Right. So it never really came up there. But in any case, I mean, in general, you guys haven't really acted in unison since except for like when you guys first arrived back in kind of funky low orbit, decaying low orbit, from coming back from Futureverse. And since then, it's, you really haven't. So I'm focusing this more for that, and the fact that you're actually, at least 3 of you are kind of moving as a team, which is.
And I'm assuming in this that our NPC'd members,
right,
or retired members are, let us know if we can be of help.
Well, yes, Jason to me is like, well, I'm gonna get people online and make sure that the support network's in place. If you guys need anything, just call, let me know, and I'll get the operations team to, get you any backup intel, whatever we can get our hands on, that kind of thing. And Leo's initial thing is, this is almost like really an act of will on his part to, or displaying his act of will, like I am retired and Adam can handle himself and Summer is going and she can handle herself and I am retired and I am not doing this. And if you need anything, call, but I'm going to.
You'll be calling the retired guy. So
yeah.
Arya's grip on his arm is about 50% strength, but yeah.
Yeah. But this is mostly about, he realizes he's going to be having to make these willpower checks repeatedly, especially for the first couple of months. So, this is the first one. There's always going to be some special thing. It's always going to be a teammate in danger. It's always going to be somebody missing. It's always going to be the city about to tip and do the open maw of some, slumbering giant from another dimension. There's always going to be something. So, right. So, okay, you guys, obviously Harry gets there first. Summer, Ray is probably next, and then Alicia, Charade will kind of roll up while they're, sort of scouting the area. Harry, what do you do when you get there? I mean, you know where Charlotte's headstone's at.
Yeah.
And from what Alicia said,
I think I want to check around the graveyard just to see if there's anything there or noticeably funky, like all the gravestones have their names written backwards or something.
Yeah, why don't you give me I'm not sure if I want to assess the situation here, but
I know I don't want to assess the situation.
Yeah, I'm coming at this a little bit sideways because I think this is kind of a more interesting thing. So I'm going to have you roll mundane for the move Pierce the Mask. You are examining the cemetery, but what you're really doing is piercing the mask of, you're looking at the cemetery to see what's going on with Ghost Girl. Okay?
Yeah.
And you can, do you have influence with Ghost Girl? I should have asked that first. Not that
yes, I do.
Okay, it's not going to substantially change your roll because it's an 8 and it will go to a 9. But if you really wanted to go to a 10, though, you've got teammates arriving and you can kind of clue, I mean, if you want, you can clue them in on kind of what you're doing. I guess vaguely. It sounds a little silly when you say it out loud, so maybe you don't want to do that. I'm kind of treating the cemetery like Charlotte and seeing if there's any clues as to what's going on with her here is a little bit odd, but you could certainly get their help if you're so inclined. What do you think?
Treating Charlotte home as if it's an extension of herself? What's weird about that?
Nothing really. I mean, well, it's plenty weird, but it's not necessarily wrong.
Adam's voice comes out from the hole.
We found him.
He's just in this little hole over. His eyes are squeezed really tight. And that's not.
Well, I would like to spend team because this is definitely something Radiance could help with.
Okay.
And by the way, is this like a new conflict or something?
It is not a new conflict. We have a limited amount of team. It's just the beginning of the thing. So you're not really facing off against anything. So we're not working with a lot of team right now. And again, I'm a little okay with that because you guys haven't really been too teamy up to this point. But you are now, which is great. Okay.
That's because we've been too busy angsting over dates and stuff.
That's very true. Not saying you're wrong.
Bad dates.
So that was an 8. Your influence with Charlotte pushes it to a 9, and the assistance from Summer. And I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about. Well, let me get back to the move here. Let's find out what kind of questions you want. So what really is you're trying to get a sense of what's going on here, but sort of like what's going on with you, Charlotte, kind of thing. So the move is when you pierce someone's mask to see the person beneath, roll mundane on 10 plus, which is what you got. Ask 3. So I kind of want to know what your questions are so I can see what kind of things you're picking up out of the cemetery. And also like so back this up just a little bit. Kind of the question you're asking and kind of what you're looking at, but also I want to know what let's start with that and we'll get to when Summer shows up. Do you have the questions there so you can see what's?
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure if there's a better order to this.
Well, the order can come in. You can dump them out on me in whatever order, and even keep one
Okay.
back or whatever, because I'll just rearrange them to make the most sense. And you can save one back. Like,
Right.
how could I get you to whatever?
What do you intend to do? What do you want me to do? What is the graveyard really planning?
What are you really planning? Okay, well, in this case, I think what do you intend to do and what are you really planning are really, well, maybe not. All right, so you kind of mentioned that you're going around looking at gravestones to see if, what was that? How did you say it?
Like if any of the text is written backwards,
Sure.
like we were in a mirror dimension or some magical stuff was going on, or everything is in a different language.
All the tombstones were on their edge. Oh, wait.
Yeah, that's how they're supposed to be. So, okay, so you kind of going through, and initially you don't really notice much amiss. It's a pretty standard. I mean, the gravestones all seem to be pretty much what you were expecting. Name, date of birth, you would assume. Year of, year they were deceased. Little epitaph. And because you're kind of speeding around, it's like, no, it's normal English.
Any dates in the future?
No dates in the future, but when you're looking at this stuff, you realize that what you're seeing kind of quickly is that, well, there's a couple things that are weird. The first thing you
new
notice,
gravestone with Adam's name written on it.
the first thing you notice is that every single one of the dates on the stones are the death date, or what you read as the death date is 2018. And these are not newly deceased, because I mean their birth dates are in some cases quite far in the past. Although stones that are quite worn from the weather and weathering and that sort of stuff, all of the carvings are really quite crisp, as though they were new. But the dates in many cases, especially in certain parts of the cemetery, those around Charlotte's, for example, go back, 100 years, several hundred years, that sort of thing.
Damn it, Dr. Infinity.
So no, you're seeing, this guy was born here and deceased a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. There's a lot, but it's all like in the last couple of weeks on most of the people. And you're like, okay, that's a little bit weird.
Is it most or all?
Ones he's checked so far, I'm gonna come down on the side of most, especially, I would say. Oh, now here, let me see if I can find that map. Hang on. I wonder if I still have that one. Maybe. Yeah, I might have cleaned it up too much, but kind of. Yeah, I think I did. But this'll work. Let me get you guys over to here. Does that work? Yeah, that works. Let me get you back over here, and I've deleted quite a bit of the stuff off here, but let me just draw a shape. I don't want, that's not really what I want. You would think.
There are lots of bad puns written on here.
Yeah, there are, but it's our group, so really you deserve it. Now, I want you to imagine that, but more of a circle. For some reason, it says draw shape, but all it is just squares. So, kind of get you a general idea of the, at least, ovoid shape here. If Charlotte's thing is kind of on the hill, like, it's not epicenter, but very near there, and Alicia would certainly know. And once she, well, we'll get there in a second. Let's get back to it. So not all, but a good. Where did you guys get the shape thing?
If you hold Alt while you're doing the draw shape, it draws a circle.
Lovely. All right, hang on. Let me just gonna get all that off of there. All the bad puns, they're away now.
Oh,
I know, it's terrible. Hold down Alt. Oh, look at that. Lovely. So, yeah. I'm gonna get rid of that other one. And stretch that guy out a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. So kind of, yeah, I mean, a little bit more than a third, 2/5, give or take. And it's not a clearly demarked area, but that area there is definitely where the gravestones have been kind of eradicated or redone or whatever. Summer, you kind of come across Harry as he's kind of going through this and frowning and looking at all the gravestones and just nope, that's wrong. Nope. Mm-hmm. And so, Harry, how do you explain what it is that you're doing, or what you're seeing, or whatever?
I'm investigating the graveyard for clues. I don't know.
I like, because I'm just imagining like sort of Summer's kind of blank look at that, like, really?
You know, because we always split up and look for clues.
Well, maybe splitting up is the bad move this time. Are you just like running around looking at stuff randomly, or?
No, I'm checking out the gravestones, and a lot of the dates are wonky.
What do you mean wonky?
Most of them are showing that these people, even who lived like during the Civil War era, died just weeks ago.
And and Harry can kind of quickly sort of rough, like with a big kind of whooshy run, kind of demarc the circle.
Don't take off yet. Summer's going to detach 2 of these new drones that Leo's created for her, these little butterfly drones.
Oh.
Can you run around again wherever you saw this stuff and just hold these out as you run? What they'll do is they'll send video back to me, and I'll create a hologram of this, and we can show Alicia as well. And then we can see the whole thing, and we can run optical character recognition on the gravestones, and we can do some data analysis. That'll be great. So just hold these and run. That's all you got to do.
Alrighty.
Lovely. Love it. All right, so you kind of run with 2 butterflies on your hands, which is weird. And as you're running...
That hurts right here.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's clearly a new chapter for the menagerie at this point. And I like that. Harry, the one thing you do notice while you're running around that you additionally know, besides the date thing, as you're kind of scanning it through here, is there are... it seems like there's a lot more gravestones than there ought to be. You fought in this cemetery. Not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. You don't remember this many gravestones. And certainly they all seem to be kind of clustered in this area where you notice the weirdness. So that's the thing. Dave, dates. It had to be dates. Glorious day for science. So yeah, you do the scan, and Summer starts sort of collating that and getting sort of the 3-dimensional bit comes up, and Alicia comes sort of whooshing up. Not really very long. It's not that her bike's that slow. It's just it takes a while to get to her before anything else. So she comes up, and they're already kind of, Harry's running back. He's got butterflies in his hands, like little luminescent butterflies. So she's infected him too, clearly. And they've got some sort of 3-dimensional holographic representation of, or at least a portion of, the cemetery up. And in a sort of a side window, there's like images of various, like actual photographic somewhat images of various gravestones flipping past, like somebody's Tinder swiping through them on this little side screen, and running optical character recognition as you kind of walk up. And
and for added bonus, we could do like if there's like a Google Earth satellite view kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
let's get that in too.
Well, we're looking at a Google Earth satellite picture of that right now up on the screen, so certainly such a thing exists. So you can definitely lay over there and kind of get a good idea of the area affected. Now, Alicia, the very first thing that you notice is that if that circle is even remotely accurate, and Harry is nothing if not remotely accurate.
Sure.
That is pretty much, I mean, if you were to draw a circle of where the old wound used to be, or where the wound is, because I don't know that you're aware that there is no wound here anymore. I don't think anybody is at this point. But if you were to draw where the wound was, it would be another smaller circle pretty much perfectly within this other one. So, we'll just...
So this seems to be enveloping the wound in the world that's here, or the wound between the worlds that's here.
Yep.
I actually would know, because if Harry's carrying my devices through this area, if they never stopped working, then the wound which was affecting technology isn't there either.
Yeah, you're right. The wound's not there. And you're actually, and it's, the thing is that like while he's doing this, like, oh, that was a bad idea because they're going to stop working. Oh, you're back. And they didn't stop working. So yeah, that's definitely indicative. It's not a perfect match. I mean, really, but it's somewhat like that. So that's, you know, wound's not there, or if it is, it's not having anywhere near the same kind of effect as it did on previously established effects on tech. Harry mentions there's a lot more gravestones, and Alicia, just at a glance, you can tell. I mean, you know, 6 foot by 6 foot. There's no way you could have gravestones this close and have them actually be anything more than a representative, like a representation, and not if they were actual burial places.
There to be actual bodies there.
Yeah, there's no way. Unless
you know, double and triple stacked.
Yeah, unless they were,
like a memorial kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're definitely in that. I mean, it's more like the density that one would associate with like what I think of as, ignorantly perhaps, as a New Orleans cemetery. You know, with that density of markers and mausoleums and stuff that you see in some.
That's because they're all raised crypts with but bodies in them, because otherwise the bodies would just kind of
But the way that they're
out of the water when it floods.
The way with which they're jammed in there, I mean, they're you can still walk between them, but it's more like posts and picket fence than grave markers. Much closer than you like. The scanning takes a little bit longer, and you know the character recognition is fine, but you're able to kind of visually scan them just as they're flipping by. And Harry, you spot like some weirdness, like, did that one just say Boston? And the summary of the things is that, as they're all kind of at least you can kind of wander off just to kind of look at a couple of them, just kind of verify what you're seeing on the screen. But they're like died to protect the people of, sacrificed himself to, protect the people of Boston, perished in service. None of them say died. Perished in service in the outside the city of Rochester. But they're the markers that you see, I mean, some of them mention Halcyon City or the immediate environs, and quite a few of them do. Certainly the ones central, like actually sort of within that red circle, you would say probably 30% of the ones in there, and not really outside of that, are like all about like, perished, sacrificed in the service of the citizens of Halcyon City, so on and so forth.
A ghost might merit a headstone, but maybe they don't need a full grave.
Could be. But there's a lot more headstones than there once were. And they're from all up and down, like...
The Atlantic seaboard?
The Atlantic seaboard. As far down as, like, Georgia,
But not within the red circle, just within kind of the.
Well, no, also within the red circle. The red circle is where the preponderance of ones locally, like perishing locally, are mentioned. But that's only 1/3 of it because, again, it's so densely packed that there's probably 2/3 of the headstones there that you can't help but think of as transplants that are denoting people who passed away not here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the red to green circle is probably still that ratio of locals to non-locals, but more and more out in that area, the locals are normal headstones. None of the transplants are. So you're seeing more just normal headstones. And that are unaffected by this effect. So the red to green area, local headstones that are not affected by this, that don't seem to have been ones who perished in the service of, sacrificed themselves serving, blah, blah, blah. Just normal. But all the transplants are still that sort of thing out in this area. Like the higher population transplant population stuff is still out in this larger area. Just scattered all through here. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. And then obviously also inside there. And once you get outside of the green circle, it's very, honestly, you'd have to hunt to even find it. It's very, so again, not a perfect circle, but like a spray of paint or a dropped water balloon kind of thing where you get a little bit more outside of the immediate impact area, but they're very hit and miss. And again, still non-native transplants, and again, all up and down the Atlantic seaboard. So button. So what? So what have you got? You've got markers marking a bunch of apparently deceased people. All of them deceased within the last couple of weeks.
Right. Well, or during the course of this year. So.
No. All within the last couple of weeks. Yes. All within the last couple of weeks. And usually in clumps, like specific dates have like a flurry of activity. So it's not like every day. But it is very nearly every day, but there's never like one on, the 17th of this month. It's always like hundreds on the 17th of this month. And then the 18th has another 150 and so on and so forth.
So hey, Alicia.
Hey, somebody who can analyze a situation a lot better than me.
Do you remember when we were in the future alternate reality Sepia-verse?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I remember that.
Thank you for your sarcasm. And what happened to Charlotte there? How she used ghosts to close the rifts, the tears in the world?
Right, the horrible storm of moaning souls that she gathered about her, or that the Charlotte of that world had gathered about her to close the wounds in the world.
Well, what if our Charlotte has been closing wounds in the world?
That would seem extraordinarily dangerous, and are you suggesting these are like the
death states?
Are you suggesting these are the death dates of spirits that were destroyed in trying to close the wound here? Or wounds elsewhere? Or...
That would be my guess.
And that's kind of your read, Harry, back to loop back to your Pierce the Mask. What do you intend to do? Clearly, Charlotte intends to close the wounds, although it seems to have got away from her a bit or build up a lot of momentum, because she was doing a lot of like, well, I'm never going to allow this to get so hopelessly out of hand. Well, and yet. So, what are you really planning? That seems to be the answer there. What do you intend to do? Charlotte's headstone also has a date from about 3 days ago. Hers simply says perished. Not sacrificed in the support of, or blah, 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 blah. So interpret that how you will. What was the other question? What do you want me to do? Or I can't remember what the third question was. I'm not sure if you asked the third question yet.
So I did.
So what do you want me to do? Well, this is either the creepiest suicide note you've ever seen or a 500 square meter cry for help. So probably that second one. If you're looking for an answer there, she's clearly feels or was overwhelmed by whatever it was that she initially attempted there. And you guys are, I'm going to stop with you guys kind of like, and you guys still kind of running analysis and stuff like that. What does that look like, Summer? Is it just like palming your hand kind of thing? What is that? Is it?
She can spread it all around her. Think basically like the forensic holograms from Iron Man 3.
Sure.
It's room wide, but the intention is really to give the more analytic people, which is basically Alicia, kind of a high level visualization and let her mess with it.
Right.
So yeah.
I have this image in my head of you kind of calling that back in as you guys sort of walk up to Charlotte's, stone.
Oh yeah.
And kind of having that kind of go away and just looking at the gravestone. It just says the date from about 3 days ago, and it just says, perished. And we will jump back to Adam. What time is it? Hey, Adam. You still there? I'm not sure if he is. I might have put him to sleep.
He and Pietro got eaten by the thing.
This could be.
They've been eaten by Gru.
I might have lost him. It's possible he fell asleep. If I put 2 players to sleep in this game, I am just signing off. Wait, is he still on?
To be fair, that was... I was laying on the bed.
He's currently muted in Discord.
Is he? Okay. But he didn't go into AFK?
No, he's still there. He's just muted.
Adam, you're muted. He might be on the phone. All right. We're going to take a quick break because I need to run down and get some kind of caffeine in me. And that needs to happen sooner rather than later. So give me about a minute or two here, and I will come back and we will check and see if Adam's maybe still dealing with the Russian mob hunting him down in his hotel room. He's having a completely different adventure game tonight. I'll be right back.
How's everything going off in college land?
I have a pomegranate.
Remember, however many seeds you eat, that's how many months you have to live in the underworld each year.
Well, you know, this is already warm enough to be hell, so... But yeah, pomegranates. I did one of the to-go boxes for dinner because I had choir and fittings to get a dress shirt, a black dress shirt for concerts and stuff. So I didn't have time to go really eat. Actually, I may do another thing of mac and cheese. Since it's all quiet here right now.
Go for it.
Because of course I have mac and cheese in my room. What kind of fool do you take me for? One who doesn't have mac and cheese
First
in their
class.
room? Rude. I learned it from you. And now it's time to see how good a range the headphones have.
Are you heading down to the kitchen?
Yeah.
The problem with collecting assets over the course of a year is when you need them later, so much later, they are damnably hard to locate. But I know I've got it, so I'm not going to give up. That's not the image I was looking for, but it's still funny, so it's going in. Yes. Adam. Or Mike.
He's still dead.
He's still dead. Dang it. Dang it.
Hey.
Oh, you are here.
Okay.
Yay. You're here.
What did I miss?
I'm not dead yet.
We were just switching over to you, and it looked like you were muted. And
I may have fallen asleep.
It's okay. It's like 2 hours later there, dude.
I also I got to the airport at like 5:45 this morning.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. All right, so to catch you up, the other group is investigating on the other side of things at the graveyard, and there's a lot of extra gravestones there, and all the grave markers seem to be marking the.
I did hear that part.
Yes, the wiping out of spirits. And then let's see, is James back? Who's not back?
Well, I'm here. James may be still off nuking mac and cheese.
Really? Supper at this time of night? It's not good. It's not good.
Well, it's an hour earlier there.
Still.
And he went straight from choir practice to this, so.
Fine. I'm back.
Okay. All right.
The headphones do not reach all the way to the kitchen, so I cry a little, but it's fine.
I was hoping they would. It seemed like it would be close enough to.
Lots of walls.
I suppose. I just want to see here. Date. Yes. This image I have had, oh my god, since before this game started, I think. But it's the second image I pulled into an image folder. It is the second image that I pulled into an image folder for this game at some point. And I've been sitting on it ever since, which I think is fantastic. Okay, so Adam, Pietro lights up the darkness with his super amazing laser show.
I attack the darkness.
He's like sort of a diesel powered Dazzler. No. Dazzler's cool.
That is the best.
The diesel
explanation
Dazzler.
I could be asked for.
Anyway, he lights his things up and then screams like a little girl because basically you're sort of suspended above, it feels like above, this enormous face, like just vast. The face itself is like the size of the hill. It's moving, undulating, even though it seems to be somewhat asleep. It's also moving and undulating for reasons that become apparent as you look at it long enough.
How dare you?
Okay. Am I going to guess that this is?
Oh, right. You're on Discord. Can you see an image if I give it to you on Discord?
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me do
Yeah, if you drop it into your general, I should be able to see it.
Let me get it over there. There we go. Yeah. You can zoom in there.
I don't need to.
So, yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of animated GIF version of this where they constantly kind of feed over and through and around each other. My daughter seems to think I am sending her off to bed with a really charming mental image just before bedtime.
Monster.
Good parenting.
Is parenting done right? Best dad ever? Or best dad in the whole world? Or best dad ever? Anyway, so this is the thing, and it is air it's not in a sleeping repose, as is kind of obvious. It's in this kind of frozen rictus grimace, but air continues to like gush in and out of this thing. And the light, I mean, as bright as Pietro stuff is kind of still only illuminating really kind of the face, neck, bit of the shoulders and stuff. You get the distinct impression that, at least in the direction that a normal body would lay, whatever. What passes for a body continues in that direction. But less comfortingly, you're also fairly certain that if you were to shed the light in other directions, to the side, or what you think of as above the head, or anything like that, there would still be more something. The sensation of movement and mass and stuff is still in that direction only also, but your mind is somewhat unable to fill in what those shapes might be in that direction, those directions. I mean, you sort of comforting, it's almost comforting to think of a gigantic body made of body parts in one direction, but the sense that there's still more out there in other directions is in terms of its creepiness, the thing that makes the sense of the giant body seem almost like, oh, that at least doesn't creep me out as much. Because what else would it be? Even though there's definitely something there. Pietro is more quiet after he quickly comes to his senses, like maybe don't scream and wake the whatever it is, or at least that's his thing, is more quietly losing his shit nearby. But he hasn't dropped the light yet either, so either because he's still looking at it in horror, or he hasn't remembered to, or whatever. What do you do?
And I think Adam is just going to like...
You know what? Does this seem like the kind of thing that would make you take a powerful blow? This craziness?
It
this weirdness?
might. You know what? This is weird. Yes.
It's weird, and you don't seem to be fully commanding your powers either. So let's just have a quick conditions roll and see how that... Now, again, it's a 0, so not 2. Bloop. What do we got? Oh, man. Oh. This is why you never let the GM touch your dice.
Never let him roll for you.
My players at my tabletop games have they don't even let me touch their dice. I can't hand them their dice bags. That was an 11. So nope. I like Bill's thing over in Discord. All right, so that is a so you're not at least to a certain extent. Pietro's not the only one sort of quietly losing his shit. When you take a powerful blow, roll plus conditions marked on 10 plus, choose one. Remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, etc. Lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way. That's kind of tasty. Or 2 options from the 7 to 9 list, which we can get into if you decide that you want to hear more about what other options you might have for this car financing. Not that I've been recently traumatized by car financing, but you know, I have. So. Have I been telling you guys about the gigantic hole in the backyard? Have I mentioned that yet?
I did not know about the gigantic hole in the backyard.
I've seen the gigantic hole, but yeah.
We're trying to cut a door in the basement out to the backyard, and the engineer that looked at things required that we were going to, believed and wrote up that we were going to have to cut for this one, to cut one window into a door, we had to cut 3 additional windows down, fill them back in somehow in some way, shape, or form, and then rebuild them reframe them, everything. It was ridiculous, crazy. And it involved this taking the hole that was already like 8 feet deep and making it like another 5 or 6 feet deep. It's crazy. And he got there today to look at the work and to verify all of his stuff. And apparently he did all of these estimates from outside the house. And he came down into the basement, and no sooner had he stepped on the floor in the basement and heard the somewhat hollow sound that you get from a floating floor. It's like a wooden floor that is above a dead space. It's not, strictly speaking, connected to the walls.
Right.
Right? He no sooner had stepped on that and said, "This is a suspended floor." "Oh yeah, you're not going to have to cut the windows. That's fine. No, this is going to be fine." I thought this was all one piece. He hadn't been in the building before when he did the first estimate. He didn't come into the house. The contractor didn't bring him in. He did it all from outside. Which, good news, that's $12,000 we don't have to spend. Yay! Bad news, dude, this has wasted a month of my life. And still have to pay the guys to do the work that you told them they needed to do that they didn't actually need to do for the hole digging. Because the second round of holes, by the time he told them they needed to dig the hole deeper, the hole was big enough that they couldn't get the backhoe, the little baby backhoe in to do any more of the digging. So all of the additional digging has been like with hand shovels. And is a solid 12 feet deep. Anyway.
Well, you can bury his career there.
Yeah, I'm not best pleased. Anyway, so I was tangenting off there to give Adam time to kind of ponder his reaction to.
Oh yeah, I pondered quite a bit.
Flexi McArmface over there, and Kaylee just came in because I'm getting ready to toss her in bed. She came over, looked at the discard chat, pointed at the octopus, and said, "That's me," and then walked back out again. So well done, Bill. Nope. So, Adam, what say you?
Since this is already a bad situation, I am going to go for the least bad option here.
Least bad? Oh,
least
man.
bad.
What is the least bad option?
I'm going to take 2 options from the 7 to 9 list.
Okay.
So, I'm going to struggle through the pain and mark 2 conditions, which I think can only be afraid and insecure.
Insecure, okay.
I am looking at a giant thing made of things.
Indeed you are.
And then, yeah.
Is that one option, or is that both of them?
That is one option.
All right. What is the other thing that you're doing? I will mark your character here real quick.
Your opposition gets an opportunity.
Oh God. Alrighty. Your opposition gets an opportunity. We're gonna get in here and mark off Adam here real quick. You said afraid and insecure?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. All right. So, I have never in my life enjoyed beginning a sentence with the phrase, "drawn by the bright light, ... What was that? Did you say yes?
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Drawn by the bright light. Seemingly drawn by the bright light. So while you're sitting there like sort of hanging above them in horror, and Pietro's sort of quietly gibbering to himself like the most iconic of all of Lovecraft's painfully racist protagonists. I was gonna say Caucasian, but really, let's be honest. but just basically quietly losing his shit over in the corner. The breath back and forth hits its pause point, the in and out, and it extends. It seems to drag on. You know, it's purposely dragging on, or longer than normal, or not long. You know, same as always. If it's just you're frozen in this moment of horror, what exactly? You're not even really thinking about it, maybe. And the eyes of the thing seem to widen. Just like, again, you don't really see pupils. You don't see anything like that. Or if you do see a pupil, it's probably just an extended fist in the center of this thing. But they react. The face changes, not just a grimace. And the mouth... there's actually like a terrible like cartoon meme mouth that I'm thinking of right now, which kind of ruins the whole effect, but it doesn't matter. The mouth kind of extends, draws together in kind of an O, but that you only get that sense of that for a second, because less than a second, because the whole mass of the thing seems to pour upward and out at outward, and just extend from being like sort of changing the mouth to like this O shape to this fire hose like jet reaching out, almost tentacle like, made of these arms reaching out and wrapping or even just like crashing into Pietro, and yanking him back down toward it, the mouth, whatever you want to say. What do you do? He lets out a terrified scream.
I want to, like, I don't know if I still can't move really, but it's just like fly towards him and envelop us both in keen gnome fire. Just like
try to like cut this thing off. Is that what I'm?
Yeah, like just try to like basically force this thing back by enveloping us both in sort of like a ball of flame.
Okay, I am going to call that a defense, since you're basically protecting Pietro. So I will
finally a savior roll.
Finally a savior roll. Okay, get back over here to Adam, and I will unfortunately note you do have a savior roll. It is a 3.
Mm-hmm.
You're also insecure.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, so let's see what we get with that. I have any situational bonuses, and we hit submit. Bloop. And scraped by with a 7. So what do we got there?
I expose myself to danger or escalate the situation.
Okay. Which would you prefer?
I think getting anywhere near that thing is exposing yourself to danger.
That's fair. You don't still necessarily move. You're not honestly concentrating on enough to know, but you do envelop the thing in flame. And I have a very good idea in mind for escalating the situation as well. So exposing yourself to danger is certainly an obvious one. I don't think it's hard to imagine how that's going to go. But escalating a situation is also definitely within bounds, because there's things there, really actually quite poetic things, I think, that work there too. So is it my choice or yours?
I never saw this as the player choice because it's a cost you.
It costs you. Expose yourself to danger, escalate the situation. I'm going to go with escalate the situation.
It just sort of gives bounds for how it costs you. But I am going to clear a condition and get rid of afraid. Because now is not the time to be afraid. Now is the time to help this guy who I accidentally put into danger.
Okay. So clear a condition. That's right. You get on 7-9. You keep them safe and choose one. Okay, gotcha. Add a team to the pool, take influence, or clear condition. Lovely. We'll clear afraid. Get back in there and clear afraid. Oh, I see. Opening up some directly engage action. Very, very cool. All right. So this is yellow bordered, purple filled text, like narrator text box stuff that gets filled into the panels on the corners of the panels for the next couple things. As we look at this sort of, at the inhuman mind of the thing that Adam faces. Remind me when we get near the end to talk to you about the discussion that I had today about the new Deadpool movie idea that came up today, which I'm not going to get into right now, but it popped into my head because of the narration thing. Anyway, so the inhuman mind that I'm facing, blah, blah, blah. Because the thing feels this, first it's exposed to this light that has where eons have passed and no light has dared touch it. And it reaches out and grasps this thing to extinguish it and pull it within itself. And this great, strange fire burns it and shocks it and, chills it really with the blast of the thing. But at the same time, establishes a connection to a place that it hasn't felt a solid connection to in years. This place of warmth and this place of starshine and real air and living, growing things and reality. Because whatever this is that burns it is intrinsically tied to this place of reality and life. And even as it destroys some of its incidental bits, little more than hair follicles on its greater being, even that through that pain, it establishes a link it can reach through to reach back to that place that it has been trying to find its way to for unknowingly, unconsciously, instinctively finding its way back to for so long. And it reaches through that link to the space beyond where this burning power is from. And what's that?
I said, uh-oh. Oh, and do it.
Yeah.
I just had something that I think Adam would be putting together right now.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, if Pietro is like, what is that thing? And Adam's like, holding it back with Kino fire and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think he'd be like, well, a while ago, this crazy guy was talking about pandemonium. And I think he's not that crazy anymore.
That's awesome. The back in the cemetery, as you guys are looking at Charlotte's tombstone and going, well, that's not a good sign right there. The grave markers all around you, the whole ground actually sort of shudders, and that very special sound of sod tearing. And the grave markers rise up out of the earth on pillars of earth, on like, but not exactly, because they're both earth, but they're also like slimy and sort of encased in really kind of like the insulating snail slime that keeps the outer skin of the mollusk moist and really like separated from the rest of the world. And they rise up all around you like time lapse photography of mushrooms growing, where the caps are these stone fingernails. And you're actually, some of you, most of you, think about everybody except for probably Harry would be familiar with, like, there's always those pictures circulating around the internet of the fungus that looks like people's fingers. Corpse fingers, maybe, I think is the name of them. I don't remember. But they come up like this, and that's the first thought, is like they're up, but then they kind of curl at the tops and curl inward and undulate like sea anemone, or because they're not moving to the wind, they're not moving to anything other than some unseen current that is not affecting you, but not immediately affecting you, or not immediately apparent, but definitely affecting them, and seem to be kind of, they're not like tentacles. Again, it's more like those clusters of anemone fronds and that sort of thing. And until the ones nearest you sort of almost draw back in surprise and then lunge in at you. Harry, what do you do? I also got to see what's going on over here, because we have images popping up, all kinds of images popping up, and I'm terribly curious. Ruh-roh. I'll begin with Harry because Harry's quick. What do you do? I'm wondering if this is James's answer with the runaway thing. Yeah, there you go. Corpse fingers. Yay!
I had my thing up.
It doesn't that last batch of pictures of the corpse fingers is particularly good. With a little fingernail kind of looks on them. Imagine that with the gravestones and probably about 20 feet up, with you guys sort of in the center of a cluster of them. And Harry, what do you do?
I look at what Mike said. No.
I look at what Mike said.
Yeah, he was noting that it's like midnight for him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go pretty soon too, but I just want to get us to a point here. They're lunging in at the three of you as you.
I grab Alicia and run.
Grab Alicia and run. Interesting.
Because I figure Summer can get out there herself, and or she's not really flush. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Wait, are you saying this is a pity run?
No, this is a
really?
You're sorry ass.
This is a pity defend?
No, this is me not wanting one of my teammates.
Oh, it is on now, dude.
Early in the battle. Yip my butt.
Okay. So I am going to I will have you roll Savior for defend.
Just
and
because I kicked
honestly,
your ass out of this dimension the first time we met?
And honestly,
I see.
Win or lose on this roll, I pray for you, because this is not going to go well for you no matter what happens.
Alicia, Harry's just trying to cop a feel. It's fine.
Does that make you feel?
Oh yes, please do. You know why they call them corpse fingers?
Because you're gonna pull back anyway. Defend an 8 is NPC threat. All right, you keep them safe. Choose one. Harry, you have options of add team to the pool, take influence over someone you protect. clear condition. Take influence.
I already have influence. I feel like I'm going to lose it soon.
Well, you can always take influence and then shift her labels. That'll make her feel even better.
Yes, because I have a death wish.
Or you can add team to the pool. That's a safe bet.
I think I want to add
Or
team to the pool.
Do you have conditions? I don't know.
I do, but not ones I'm likely to be using right now. So
yeah, that's fair. All right, so we'll add team to the pool. That'll kick us up again.
Hey, I could have left you there to get attacked by zombies.
So the thing that I like best about this is like the arguing about this begins immediately. As fast as Harry moves, Alicia is already angry with him. Right? As fast as Harry is, Alicia is angrier faster.
Angry faster.
Is angry faster. So they lunge inward. Summer. I mean, there's a flash of Harry and a blue flash of Alicia's cursing. What do you do as these things are coming in like some horrifying Akira meltdown?
I'm going to immediately take to the sky and kind of get my distance. I figure Harry's going to take care of her, so I'll just kind of look around and see if there's anything else on the ground or if this thing is attacking anybody.
Okay, so you go straight up as they kind of lunge in at the space where you're at, but like you're not up for more than probably a hot second before they kind of, because they're like, actually, what this reminds me most of is Princess Mononoke, the boar demon, the little wriggling bits on the boar demon, and how they would kind of like lunge out and burst and burst out at things and kind of like, you know what I mean? You with me on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're kind of burble around in that space where you're at, like they're trying to grab, and there's nothing there to grab, but they haven't immediately realized that because they're sort of grabbing each other. And as soon as they do, there's this moment of like perfect stillness where they just pause, and then they lunge up at you. They are also. Some are coming up at you, but there seems to be a bit of a height limit there. They're also like sort of sweeping in the general direction of Harry and Alicia, which not best helped by the fact that she's struggling and like, put me down, my God. Anyway, kind of stuff.
I will actually try to fly opposite where they're going to see if we can pull this thing in two directions and make it and get it stuck.
Kind of keep it. Picking this thing up a little bit. I am going to so you're mostly just trying to get it to spread its resources out over some kind of area.
And I think I'm affirming my heroic identity here. Like I have a plan. I can do something. I'm going to contribute meaningfully to this encounter.
Okay.
So I'm swapping mundane and freak.
I am going to, and that's a good call because I'm going to have you unleash your power. So you would have probably seen that coming. But for me, this is changing the environment, at least changing the shape of the conflict. So I'm going to have you unleash your powers. Now, what's this look like? Is there like, so the wings are basically light, right?
It's all light. It's literally like if you had her turn off all her holograms, basically she's wearing like gym shorts and a sports bra. Everything else is fake.
This is, but oh my God, the idea of like this kind of burst of light and then a burst of speed is like so intensely anime. It's more anime than Leo, and I didn't know that you could like find another notch past that. It's different anime. It's a different brand of anime.
Yeah, he's giant robot and she's magical girl. That's
I was gonna say we've gone from Power Rangers to Sailor Moon, but it's all to the good. It's all to the good. All right, well, give me a unleash your powers then, and we will see, and we will probably pause somewhere near around there. What was that? No. Oh, Dave, that's perfect. I love it. And we got 7 on that. So, I'm pretty sure that's going to be so unleash your powers. Extinction roll freak. You do it. Mark a condition for, I guess, the extensive effort, or I'll tell you how it's unstable or temporary.
I'm going to say I'll mark afraid because this is not something we had expected and just came out of nowhere.
And yeah, the creepiness factor is ramping up. And I'll tell you why here in just a second. So we'll give you, I'll go with the afraid thing there. Because you do kind of burst out and you feel like you've hit, you've got out past their immediate reach. I mean, you've got that, certainly it's not difficult to sort of sense around you and stuff like that, but you definitely get them to sort of extend your direction to the point where they can't really reach you, and you kind of pull up a little bit and kind of drift into a bit of a drift into like a bit of a stop up in the air, and you turn, and looking back down at the cemetery, let's get back to that map here for a second. We'll just kind of go like this. I don't know if I can do this really very well, but that's not going to stop me from trying. And we can kind of do this and that. The ground is like morphing, and the gravestones and stuff, and it's the whole place is like forming into this grimacing, angry face where the muscles of the face are like surging mounds of earth. And I mean, it's trite to say like the gravestones as teeth. That's not what's happening. They're being cast about and cast aside. It is the earth itself that is shifting and changing, and to your great discomfort or disbelief or just plain horror, like smiling, and it's a kind of it's a gluttonous kind of smile. It's the smile of someone who's like got their mouth jammed full of gravy and turkey and is reaching for more. And that's where we're going to stop. And everybody's being very quiet, and it's creeping me out and making me think I screwed up.
Well, I mean, we're going to find out if Adam and Pietro came through. We're going to find out like how to stop this thing if we even can. There's a lot of unknowns here.
There's a lot of unknowns here. Well, this is actually, they're not going to come bursting out through the mouth of this thing or anything. Well, they may, I guess. But we're at a we're
pushed on through out of its mouth or something like that.
This is conveniently we're in a situation now where everybody can be in different places but all fighting the same thing. So
because it's everywhere.
I wouldn't know.
Boy, I sure hope Aegis still has those satellites tuned in on the cemetery.
I don't know about everywhere, but it's at least in 2 places that you guys really, really concerned about right now. So yeah, we will stop there with the gluttonous mouth, gluttonous face in the cemetery, and the thing, the arm monster thing in wherever black space Adam got himself off to. And
well, now that hopefully I remember this for next time.
Trust me, Charlotte's in the same zip code ish with some of you too.
That was why I was thinking Adam's next move, knowing this is Pandemonium and how it's linked to Charlotte, is going to be barrel right into it, and then hopefully with the engage a threat is take something from it, and hopefully that something from it is Scarlet.
Well, we'll just have to see how that checks out. We haven't had a good fight in a while, so that's good. And this is I don't know if anybody was watching this going, okay, well clearly this is part of Charlotte's arc because the creepiness factor just went up a couple of notches. So there we go. Harry, you guys are also kind of right around in this area. It's just a matter of Alicia's protestations dropping slightly away as she starts to get a sense of the shape of this thing.
I'm gonna need bigger guns.
Harry, let me throw you into the mouth of that thing. It's the only missile weapon I've got that's big enough. Okay. Adam. Closer to the team, farther away from the team, more into an image of yourself.
More into the image of myself, which I will determine later when I can look at my camera.
Once you can look back at it. That sounds just fine. Alicia. Closer to the team, further away from the team, more into an image of yourself.
Closer to the team.
Mm-hmm. Giving influence to. I mean, Summer did reveal her fancy.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Summer. Combo of both. Her doing a big reveal of her new costume.
I am loving.
I thought that would push you further away from the team.
But also.
I mean, I could certainly. If she had said further away from the team and named either of you, I wouldn't have even blinked. So.
But also I'll kind of incorporate some offline stuff there that
oh sure
ties
into that.
I'm shocked. I say.
Honestly, Alicia, could have said Harry as irked as she was. It was also she appreciates the not leave no person behind. Defensive sort of thing.
I like how Harry is playing as though you have the Beacon playbook. I mean, it's just funny to me. Anyway, Harry, speaking of, closer to the team, further away from the team, more into your own image of yourself.
Closer to the team, and I will also say Summer, since she really threw herself wholeheartedly into all of this, into the team.
Yeah, she looked really cool when she burst up out of the whole holographic thing to kind of do the analysis and help you out with that, and the butterflies thing, and yeah, she was right in there. Getting in there, doing the analysis, doing the stuff.
I now have influence over everybody.
This is my.
How long did it take?
I was like, dude, this is my surprise face.
You were it. You were the holdout, Harry.
Harry was the holdout. Holdout, Harry.
Oh well, in that case, I changed my mind.
No.
God damn it.
Speaking of Summer, closer to the team, further away from the team, more damage yourself.
I'm going to say closer to Mercury because not only did he cooperate with my little butterfly gimmick, thus making me feel welcome. Because she was like, well, will this work? Is it a bad idea? But he was just like, yeah, let's roll with it. Yeah. But also he saved my roommate, and thus rent will continue to be lower. And so I'm happy with that.
That is a person to be angry at, not me for saving you.
That's funny. That is funny. Save the roommate.
No. She's grateful that Alicia got saved. She would have done it if Harry hadn't. But the fact that Harry jumped in like a hero, just immediately went for
I am loving the fact that everyone's like, who's going to save Alicia in this situation? That is just.
Though I understand that Alicia is perfectly capable of saving herself.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm also going to point out that Summer's first reaction when she got here and decided she needed help somehow was give the smart girl a high-level data visualization and let her do her thing.
You just stand
Oh.
out of the way, which worked really well.
That all worked well too.
Yeah.
That's probably another
It's good stuff.
contributor close to the team.
Between these last 2 sessions, I've been very happy because last time it was all drama, and this time it was like investigation and fighting. And between all of that, it seems like I feel as though we've ticked a lot of mask boxes in the last couple. We usually, I mean, not that we don't always.
Oh, and my beacon drive hit. I got a new costume.
Oh, yeah. So you've got like what, 4 of those, and then you check off those 4 and you move on to the next batch, and so on.
Yeah. So what I've got left is earn the respect of a hero you admire, which would either be Concord or Mercury at this point. But also stop a fight with calm words. So GM, hopefully there'll be a fight soon that I can stop with calm words.
I mean, yes, absolutely. With the caveat,
Talk to the giant face.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's going to be this one, but
I know, yeah.
This is not a calm face, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, what Pandemonium is or is not, and who Pandemonium is or is not, is still a something for many paranormal scholars to. But certainly something is up, and it ain't good. So, yeah, good stuff all around. I apologize for we're closing up shop a little bit earlier than we normally do, but that's because.
So what are we calling the episode?
What are we calling this episode? We didn't have a good zinger line.
Give us a hand.
The face on the floor.
Face on the floor.
The face on the barroom floor.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that, or somebody else can think about it. I will accept the decree of the group.
I'd go for graveyard shift if you really want the double entendre.
Yes.
Graveyard shift.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. That is fantastic. Graveyard shift. That is outstanding. Well done. I'm kind of, I'm not patting myself on the back on this case, but I really kind of feel like there is definitely a bit of a tone shift so far. It's not a huge thing because it's still us, but there's definitely a bit of a tone shift the last couple of, there's, that sort of uncertainty that comes with like a new season of a show kind of a thing, and things have moved around, and there's a few new actors you're not, you haven't quite gotten used to yet, and some of the other people aren't around.
Costume changes.
There's costume changes, and Miss Martian got a pixie cut, and I'm not sure about that, and there's a little bit of that, and I'm kind of happy about that. It doesn't just feel like the same thing going on, and we're just sort of arbitrarily deciding it's a new season. It really feels like some different stuff, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and now tonight you've gone from the Teenagers from Outer Space game to Lamentations of the Flame Princess. So.
I mean, no, I'm not going to no, but there was definitely some, certainly there was some certainly creepier stuff there, so I'm happy about that.
No, that's good. I like it.
But gotta love some Teenagers from Outer Space as well. There was one. Everyone was very into Teenagers from Outer Space, and I was a big, all props to. Was it Pondsmith that did that? I think it was, wasn't it? Mike Pondsmith, maybe? I can't remember who did that. It was a great game. But there was a game at the same time that came out about the same time that my roommate in college was absolutely gung-ho for. And I remember reading rules examples in a game called Tales from the Floating Vagabond. That
takes me back, yeah.
That was as close at the time in tone as one could really get to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, the introduction at the beginning of the book was something like, the story of how the game came to be. And there, it started with us, recovering from a hangover from the night before. And it's like, and one of my friends going, we should write a game. And and the reply was something like, what kind of game? I said, brushing the duck off my shoulder. And it was just like, that was the tone, but they were certainly very similar games. I don't know that we were really we haven't been Teenagers from Outer Space. Sometimes we are. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna get going because I apparently desperately need to sleep. So I'm gonna go do that, guys. Thanks very much for a super fun game. We have Ghost Girl back next week. Perfect timing all around. Is that correct? Or did I lose Dave already?
No, sorry, I was on mute, and there's no one else in the house to catch my voice on the microphone.
So tell me that.
So yes, she should be back here.
Everyone,
next week.
everyone. Oh, so pause. Stop the recording here. Thanks again for the great game.